Milwaukee Election Commission Executive Director Claire Woodall was fired on Monday in an unexpected shakeup in the most populous county in the battleground Wisconsin 6 months before an election day, which is really, really weird. Claire Woodall is leaving just 2 months after a grand jury found her former deputy, Kimberly Zapata, guilty of official misconduct and election fraud charges. Let that sink in, everybody. They're doing fraud in Wisconsin and having her obtain fake absentee ballots. Zapata had claimed she was trying to expose the vulnerabilities in Wisconsin's elections. She was saying, Tom, that she was a whistleblower. She was sentenced last week to probation and a $3,000 fine. So this goes to Peter Berniger. He's like one of the biggest voices right now, Pat, that's involved with this whole case. He's an independent investigative journalist and president of Election Watch Incorporated. He has brought 18 lawsuits against election clerks and offices in the state court. He tweeted this yesterday. Rob, can you go to the tweet? He tweeted, Claire Woodall, Vogue fired. She is, parentheses, was the most corrupt election clerk in Wisconsin. I took her sworn deposition in a lawsuit I filed against her as Milwaukee City election clerk. She printed, and listen what he's saying. She printed 64,000 ballots in the back conference room of City Hall, room 501, for the November 3rd, 2020 election. She had city employees and other CTCL fill up some of those on the 4th, 6th, and other floors of City Hall. Then kicked out observers around 10 to 10:30 p.m. on November 3rd. Then brought a large amount of ballots at 1:15 a.m. on November 4th. Okay, now, Tom, if you, can you go back to the letter the email? This is an email that he posted.
Can you zoom in, Rob, with this?
Yeah,
this is November 4th, 2020.
Yes, and this is an email of Claire on election night joking about delivering the margin needed to flip the state to Trump. Yeah, so Tommy, check this out. So this is an exchange her coworker Ryan Chu from Election Group said to Claire, "Damn, Claire, you have a flair for drama, delivering just the margin needed at 3 a.m. I bet those votes counted at midnight and just wanted to keep the world waiting." Now, if you go, Robbie, go to that chart. If you guys compare this timestamp to the email exchange and take a look at the graph timeline, Milwaukee had a 140,000 ballot dump around the same time, which statistically favored Joe Biden and pushed him ahead. That's right around that time. If you see at the bottom, that's 6, and that's going back to 4 o'clock. So, just so you guys know the vote totals, Biden was 1,630,866.
Oh, so it's important for you. So hang on one second.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at, Rob, stay on that. So what you're saying is the blue that's climbing with the red is Trump. Trump is ahead.
Yep.
Blue is behind. And boom, at 4 a.m., that hockey stick up is what caused him to win.
It spikes. Yeah, it spikes. And now, where's my second part?
And this chart is from Edison Research. So this wow.
Yeah, well, everybody does remember that night. You don't remember that night? Everybody went to sleep. Everybody's like, yo, Trump is going to win. And then, boom, that jumped up. So now the same guy, the Berniger guy, he, and I have, Rob, you have the letters that I sent you? This is Berniger.
Zoom in a little bit, Rob, if this is the one, Vinny.
So, yes, sir. This is Pete Berniger. This is him claiming this, that this is a letter from Sheriff Dar Leaf, the Honorable. He's sending this to Scott Perry, the dear congressman. He says, please be advised, Sherry's office has an open investigation for several years related to the election law violations. My office recently reviewed the evidence related to this investigation that requires immediate review from Congress. And this is what he says. I'm attaching documents directly from Dominion voting systems that demonstrate lack of truthfulness and transparency when testifying before Congress in January 2020 following the January 20 hearings. Congress specifically requested information from Dominion regarding the percentage of Chinese parts that are used in the Dominion brand election equipment. Dominion failed to disclose to Congress to the motherboard in the election equipment is not only sourced from China, but it is tested in China. And you could go on to read that. Now, the next one, Rob, is the Georgia one.
Wait, can you zoom in there? What else is in the letter? Zoom in a little bit more.
I can read the whole thing.
The desire to hide this information from some Assistant Director FBI Counter Holdings has stated China's manufacturing can be perfect. So again, additionally, testing and modifications are taking place in China and Dominion brand firmware from HP printer provided by Dominion to local clerks. Dominion further failed to disclose to Congress that Dominion employee Andy Huang, formerly from the Chinese Telecom, which is owned by the Chinese Communist Party, was given authority and access to reset the servers on U.S. election equipment remotely from Canada. As you know, the FCC issues orders to show cause on April 24, 2020 against China's telecom, stating there is a deep concern as to the vulnerability to the exploitation, influence, and control of the Chinese Communist Party, given they are subsidiaries of Chinese state-owned entities.
And the last page says, unfortunately, the national security concern continues. Dominion failed to disclose the use of Huawei phones utilized in the Serbian employees, the same Serbian employees remoting into the U.S. election system during the U.S. elections. Now, the second one, Robbie, is that video from Georgia. Georgia State Elections Board held an important hearing 2 days ago. Fulton County double scanned ballots, and they didn't keep the required ballot images as required by Georgia law. 380,000 ballot images are missing in Fulton County, and this is them at the board. Go ahead, Rob, play that.
Does the investigation confirm that there are missing ballot images?
Yes. Missing. Weird.
Do you know why 380,761 ballot images from Election Day machine count are not available?
What?
We subpoenaed Fulton County for all of their ballot images. We received approximately 518,000 ballot images.
From Election Day?
Those are for the recount.
Those are from the recount, but we have no ballot images for 380,761 ballots from Election Day, correct?
Rob, go to the audio and lower a little bit on that.
What was subpoenaed was the ballot images for the recount, because that's what this case was about, not the Election Day.
This is...
Does Fulton County know why there are not 380,761 ballot images from Election Day?
She's asking the same question?
Same again to somebody else. To somebody else, PBD.
As with the investigators, we have not been apprised of this allegation. This is the first I'm hearing about it. I have no idea what the basis of that allegation is, and so we would have to. We can't answer that.
We can't answer that. So no accountability.
Would Fulton County agree that every vote should have a ballot image?
So, and PBD,
are you kidding? This is when?
This is 2 days ago. And mind you, guys, and I'm gonna say again, this guy, Peter Barnago. He has 18 lawsuits against them. They're literally claiming that the proof is in the paper ballots, but this is a way longer video, and they're refusing to let anyone see. So the fact that that girl from this is Wisconsin, this is Georgia. These are all those key places, and now it's 2024. All this stuff is coming to light. Is it too late? Is anything gonna happen, Tom?
So let me ask, if I'm going to summarize, and I want to make sure that I understand what you just said.
Yes.
Georgia state law and the Georgia Election Board was there testing, because they're supposed to have all the ballots that come through digital. There's supposed to be an image of all those ballots.
Yes.
Sort of as a, rather than having all the paper ballots sitting around, they have digital images of all votes counted.
Correct.
When they did the recount, they suddenly can't find images for over 300,000 votes.
Yeah.
So they can't validate the recount by going one-to-one, image, vote Biden, image, vote Trump, back and forth. They can't do that. And the board is asking multiple questions, and people are actually giving bad answers. No, we don't have it, with no explanation. Is that what I just saw?
That's exactly what you just saw.
So Georgia cannot validate with its own law requirement to have images of all those ballots. They cannot validate the recount.
You saw it right in front of you.
They can only use the digital numbers.
That's what he just said.
Yeah, so that he's verified. No, it's unbelievable.
I get it, but what are your thoughts on this, Adam? You hearing this?
I trust whatever Vinny found out. I don't need to fact check it.
Well,
I don't need a counter argument. If you saw it, I believe it.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm actually not even being sarcastic. I believe you did your research, and I don't know the story.
Well,
I'm not going to comment on it. Well, it's not something I followed, and I'm not going with my gut. If you've done your research, I trust you.
And there is one other point that Vinny,
go ahead,
I think is in that.
What?
Fulton County, like Milwaukee, was a late hour catch-up.
Donald Trump said, I'm worried about this late night. By the way, guys, if every dollar bill has a serial number, every vote can have a freaking serial number on it. We need to know, why does it take so many days? All these other countries, Pat, I forgot which one that you said, there was like a 20 million something votes. They did it in one day. This whole late night, we go to sleep. We don't know what's happening. If we let this continue, guys, you're going to keep waking up in the morning and they're going to say, whoops, Joe Biden, the most popular president in the world, it always felt wrong to me. And it felt wrong to a lot of people that I know, that this guy got 81 million votes. He's more popular than Barack Obama. Are you freaking kidding me? And that's why I think it's frustrating. And I mean, this is my question to you, Tom. This is 2024. They're talking about this election. What's going to happen? Is anything going to happen to this? Election's right around the corner.
Is this ongoing? Because if this is the Georgia Election Board, they're going to issue a decree and a finding. This is public. That's
it's 100% public.
That's reporters and citizens sitting in there.
And did you see the girls' paper ballot, please?
Yeah, I saw
Trump
the
supporters.
T-shirts of a bunch of people.
There's Trump supporters in there fighting. And by the way, the director Claire Woodall, who was fired, her replacement is Paulina Gutierrez. This is her first time ever running an election
in Milwaukee.
It's like, what do we really? She's never run one, and you're just going, hey, good for her. This is a key state for the election, and you're just letting somebody that's never done it. Like, would you have, Pat, God forbid you were sick, would you let somebody that's never done a podcast come in here and lead your podcast? No, this is the election. What are we talking about?
Can I respond to one thing?
Yeah.
I'm going to make a prediction. You ready?
Yeah.
The whole most popular president of all time, I can't believe it, 81 million votes.
Yeah.
Okay. Trump got 76 million votes.
Yeah.
Also a massive number.
Yeah.
Why was the vote count so high? Why was it? It's crazy. Maybe it had something to do with the level of interest of voters. So this election cycle, my prediction, neither of them are going to even get 70 million. What?
Well, if there's a third
they
party.
They went from 80 to 70. How could you say that? Because what they do since 2000, they track voter enthusiasm and level of interest. Do you know prior to 2020, what election had the most level of interest by the American public?
The most?
2008, Barack Obama. People were like, oh my God, first black president. So, I mean, I can show you the stats.
No, I believe it. And they were duped.
2024,
yeah.
2020, I think it was 77% level of it. Here it is right here. Meaning there's a 13% predicted drop-off of interest, meaning people don't even want to go to the polls. So,
well, that's a problem.
In 2000, exactly, I think Americans 100% should vote. But in 2008, the American public was so interested in the Obama.
What does this have to do with what he's saying?
Specifically, he said he didn't believe that Biden got 80 million votes. How is he more popular than Barack Obama?
These are different topics.
I'm specifically talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the Georgia thing.
I got you, but these are two different topics.
Voter interest has a lot to do with voter turnout.
Yeah,
sure.
and that's why midterm elections, people don't vote.
Yeah.
Because they're like, dude, I don't give a shit about midterm.
What does that have to do with what he's talking about?
It has zero to do with his Georgia predictions.
Milwaukee thing.
But it has everything to do with his comment about 80 million votes for the Biden president.
It's not a prediction. What he's saying is that this lady's asking a question, where's the 380,000 images?
And they say, we don't know.
And that lady is can you pull up who that lady was? Her name.
Janice, I think Janice something, Robbie?
Go Google her name. I actually want to know who appointed that judge, okay? Go back at the beginning. You can Janice Johnston.
Board member, State Election Board. And this is Georgia, Fulton County,
Janice
Robbie.
Johnston. Okay, Janice Johnston. And what county is it? What county is it?
Fulton County.
Okay, that's good. Go to it.
Georgia State Election Board.
Okay, let's see who this lady is. Georgia, I want to know her. I'm interested in knowing who she is. What happens if you just type in Janice Johnston? What comes up? Don't even type anything else. So IMDb, she's not an actress, that's for sure. Type in judge. Maybe type in judge.
I saw the bio on the prior page.
Did you?
Yeah.
Judge.
I don't think necessarily. Is she a judge, PBD?
From left, election judge Janice checks in the first time.
No,
voter.
This is Missouri, though.
So I want to know where she's from. So this is what this means to me. At least this is how I process it. The same people that you couldn't talk about ivermectin or you couldn't talk about, anything else. Okay, so who appointed her? March 2nd, 2022, appointed by who? But who gave the job? Can you see who appointed her? Republican, boom. That's in the county.
She was appointed in 22.
I know, but who? That's 22 is under Biden. Who? Yeah. So it's under Biden that she's getting the job. So, when you see stuff like this, that they're like, you just have to say, do you believe the election was stolen? No. Do you believe the election? He believes the election was stolen, so conversation all over, right? Like you couldn't even say it, right? You couldn't even say that 100%. You believe that. Okay.
You get banned.
Just so you know, no one's saying this. Vinny is not saying this, that's what happened with this case. He's speculating. He's asking questions based on what the market is sharing with us in different counties, right?
Yep.
Okay, fine. But here's the question. If now we know that this is what happened, and they try to repeat this again, do not be surprised why a movie called Civil War just came out a month ago. I'm just telling you. Because the level of rage and anger for certain people, I'm talking to a guy and he says, what's the big deal, man? We're just moving on with COVID. I mean, what's the big deal? It's just, we got to move on. I mean, it's not a story anymore. I said, no. I said, that's not how life works. I said, do you know the vaccine, how many marriages it divided? How many families it divided between siblings? Do you know how many jobs at a company people were divided, employer against employee? I said, do you know churches were divided? They couldn't go to church. Do you realize a church couldn't have their congregation go to pray to God in certain places in California? Do you realize how many people this thing destroyed? Do you realize how many people who love their country, were serving in the military, they're 5 years away from retirement, decided to get out because they did not want to take the vaccine? Do you realize how emotional this is to so many different people? This isn't just let's move on. I'm not part of that camp.
Accountability, you're the guy.
I'm not part of accountability. Yep. Same with the election. If they go deeper and they find more stuff like this, the emails, if there's more discovery and they find stuff. Two things for me, like, say Trump wins the election, okay? What are some things he's going to do? Okay, I'm going to fix the border. Fine. All right, so you fix the borders. What kind of a fix is it? Temporary or permanent?
If he's going to be serious,
no,
it's going to be a temporary fix till they get the real job.
What's a permanent fix?
A permanent fix is the wall, like the Egypt thing that we were talking about.
You build the wall. Build the wall. Can somebody else still come down and change it to make it a temporary fix? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so, I'm going to deport the people that we have here. Is that a permanent fix or a temporary fix?
If you kick them all out?
Kick all of them out.
Permanent.
That's a temporary fix because somebody in 8 years can come back and open it up again, have 15 million people.
If the president changes.
Yeah, okay. The president changes. Okay, so fixing the economy, is that a permanent thing or a temporary thing?
Temporary.
It's a temporary thing. Okay, putting sanctions on China and Mexico because China's selling cars to Mexico. Temporary thing. What is permanent is a few different things. One, how are we going to handle COVID next time around?
Because
pandemic and force and vaccine, how is that going to be done?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, what is going to happen with elections moving forward that we can trust that games like this can't happen? And it's permanent, not temporary. I am interested in some permanent, positive changes that gamification cannot reappear. I think if they investigate this while he's in and they find out some stuff and he brings some new bosses in and they go deep into it and they find some stuff, they got 4 years to do it. I'd like to see some permanent changes being made that we can finally sit there and say, I don't need to worry about what's going to happen with the election in 2028 or 32 or 36 or 40 or any of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I'm interested in. So I'm glad they're doing this investigation. I hope they go a little bit deeper so we can learn more.
And just because, and Tom, we talked about this before this, about the frustration and the anger that I'm having. If you guys really break it down, it's election interfering, a.k.a. cheating, from the beginning. And I get it, guys, with, there's been, in the past, Tom, Gore and Bush, there was always problems, right? People were questioning the election and all that stuff, correct?
Yep, it goes back to the dawn of time and the stories validated of how Mayor Daley manipulated Chicago. Election cheating has been as American as apple pie.
Gotcha.
And suddenly we're supposed to believe nothing is going on and go away. And suddenly Georgia is having, remember, Pat was right. You couldn't say anything to the media. You would be shouted down. How dare you say it during COVID, right?
Yes.
Well, the same thing was happening when you're talking about certain states and asking. to have in questions about election integrity. Can you prove it? Can you show me? And now Georgia's having an ivermectin moment where they're coming back saying, well, wait a minute here. If we're going to have a recount, why can't we count?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to know what the vote count is without the 381. I want to know what the vote supposedly is with the 381.
Yeah.
These numbers should be available for public inspection. And I feel like we're having this ivermectin and COVID moment in Georgia. Well, okay, you can ask questions now in public and not be shouted down.
Yeah.
In the middle of inquiry, you have every right to be upset, and I think the American people have every right to be upset and to say, wait a minute.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with. We're not just saying it was just this time, but if you think about it, from 2016, this is cheating. Hillary Clinton and the DNC got caught, slap on the wrist. They got fined, what, $8,000 or $10,000 for starting the Russian fake collusion to try to get the sitting president out. That's cheating, number one.
Steele dossier.
The Steele dossier. Number two, the FBI going to Twitter with God knows how many agents and trying to suppress stories for one side of the party. That's cheating. 51 intelligence agents signing off saying that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. That's cheating from the FBI. And then now we keep hearing all this stuff with ballots this and ballots that. And I hate when people like Hillary Clinton, all these people right now are like, how dare you talk about the election? How dare you talk about machines? There's a montage that I'll send to Rob later. The whole Democratic Party, including Hillary Clinton, was like, we can't trust any machine, any digital electronic machines. And I just saw a documentary called Kill Switch. One of the first things that they say in the documentary is every single computer can be hacked, period. Done deal. They put in backdoors. They put in stuff like that. So the illusion of, no, we can't. It's only one side. When it's up, is this it? Oh, Pat, could we just play the beginning of this? Play this. This is Hillary back in the day.
Just stop using touchscreen computer voting because it's so vulnerable.
Right.
We need to look at all the voting machines. Every Secretary of State needs to be, assisted in making sure that they are not being hacked and attacked.
I continue to think that our voting machines are too vulnerable.
For researchers have repeatedly demonstrated that ballot recording machines and other voting systems are susceptible to tampering.
Even hackers with limited prior knowledge, tools, and resources are able to breach voting machines in a matter of minutes.
In 2018, electronic voting machines in Georgia and Texas deleted votes for certain candidates or switched votes from one candidate to another.
The biggest seller of voting machines is doing something that violates Cybersecurity 101, directing that you install remote access software, which would make a machine like that, a magnet for fraudsters and hackers.
Voting machines can be hacked quite easily.
You could easily hack into them. It makes it seem like all these states are...
The list goes on and on, but it's funny, but it infuriates me that one day they were doing this, and then when it came to 2020, they were like, how dare you say it? So I'm just saying, I hope the people are awake. I hope you guys are paying attention.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.